diplomatic relationship with the U.S.
My name is Abina Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, Mount Nimba to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Bokondre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is
Welcome. It is another Sunday, and we're here with Focus on Liberia on Point. We want to ask you to please share the show. It is a great Sunday. Today is May 4th, 2025, and we're here to once more talk about what's been in the news concerning mostly Liberia. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you guys all the time. So please, as we take these few seconds, please go ahead and share the show. Let's allow our friends and families who are not directly connected with us to also enjoy the show. It's going to be a great evening, and let me apologize. We had a few technical difficulties coming on, but we are here, and we intend to make the best of the next hour and 20 minutes from now. Let me go ahead and go around the table here. Good afternoon, Gabriel. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's good to be here on a Sunday afternoon. I know this is not my territory, but I'm good to be joining you guys on Point. So I will behave like a fly on a wall and chime in every now and then because this is not my era. So everybody got their era. So, but I'm good to be here to listen to all of you and be part of the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I dare disagree with you. Once it's about Liberia, it's your territory, Chief. Yeah. And some kind of way will mix you in there some kind of way. Exactly. But it's great to have you. Mr. Tao, how are you doing this afternoon, sir?
I'm doing very good. Hi to my fellow panelists and to our viewers across the globe. I'm glad to be here today to be part of the discussion. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Tao, one of our on time, on point panelists. We're always glad when you can make it here. We appreciate you, sir. And of course, then we have here Mr. Dennis Jah. How are you doing this afternoon, sir?
You're muted.
Your audio is not audioing. No, you are still off, my friend. Okay, I can hear something.
Right. When you are CEO, then you have multiple microphones. Sometimes the computer pick up one.
Yeah.
No, but I'm glad to be here. I'm still learning how to answer questions instead of asking. So every now and then I want to come on point to practice. Good to be here.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We promise to be on our best behavior. And we'll see how it goes. We'll definitely see how it goes here. All right. So once again to our audience out there, please go ahead and share the show. Hit the like button, hit the share button, and let's see if we can share what we're about to discuss with all of Liberians out there in Facebook and YouTube world. All right. So today we have some pretty good topics for you guys, and we'll go ahead and kick off with the first topic here. So um, apparently there is the Inspector General of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry that goes by the name of D. Daw Cooper. And earlier on, he was implicated in a fraud scheme at the University of Liberia, where he had gone ahead and purchased somebody else's ID number and used that to attend classes so that he could finish. Well, one of the first thing I did is he didn't have to take the UI exam. That's the first thing. It bypasses the UI exam. The second thing that it does is it allows him to also assume credits, okay, based on that person, and to graduate quickly. And so once the public became aware and that message hit the University of Liberia, there was an investigation held at the University of Liberia. Based on that investigation, several employees were fired. I believe one was suspended. And then the case was forwarded to the Liberian National Police to say, hey, there's this gentleman. He was entangled in fraud at the University of Liberia. This is what we've investigated. This is what we have come with, and you can take it from here. We have heard nothing from the Liberian National Police, and then we have heard nothing from the president, who actually appointed this gentleman to the Ministry of Commerce. Now, before I ask the question, the Inspector General at the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, their key job, is to go from place to place, cold storage, warehouses, to make sure that the produce that is being put on the market is not expired. It's of good quality. It's a job that opens you up to a high degree of bribery. And the cry out here is, if this man has been involved in fraud, and then you send a man to where there is a high degree of bribery, how can we have confidence in him? So let me start with Mr. Tao here. Mr. Tao, the president has said nothing. This guy keeps his job, and we don't know where it's going to go from here. Do you think that there's something that the president should step in since he appointed the guy?
Yeah, there are two things. I think before the president stepped in, the police should have immediately started an investigation. If there was a background, the police should have immediately started an investigation to first see whether there was anything there that could lead to a charge or something. But the police have said nothing. Yes, the president can step in, or the president could have maybe instructed, if the police or made a public statement that he is going to instruct the police or the chief of police to launch an immediate investigation. But this is Liberia, and this is under the presidency of Mr. Boyka. We know there are a lot of things that even investigation probably won't even lead to anything. So, I mean, when they come to this one, I don't think anything is going to come out of it. And if the guy was even fired, I think he should be persecuted and dealt with, because this is the kind of stuff we're talking about. If this guy is going to go and just start to steal degree that easily, I mean, it means he actually have the ability to pretty much go everywhere and just say, "Give me some money." And so maybe that's why a lot of bad stuff on the market. If these kind of guys are the people that are in charge, I mean, that's what
All
I
right.
think.
Okay. So thank you, and thank you so much, Matao. So here's the thing, right? So here's a guy appointed by the president, and I'm coming to you here, Gabriel. Here's a guy appointed by the president, right?
Yeah.
Liberia, one of the things Liberia struggles with, there's no constant electricity. So storing fresh food is a major thing.
Yeah.
Making sure that food is proper for consumption. Chicken feet, chicken thigh, chicken wings, those things. I remember when I've forgotten her name, but she was the IG during the CDC government.
Yeah.
Josephine Davis.
Yes, Madam Josephine Davis. And I remember her going to these cold storages and having these people empty out. I mean, just bunch of
There's noise in the
expired
background.
food. Just bunch of expired food.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we got this guy, and they're trying, and we've never seen him do anything. And so are we to believe that there's no expired food in the market in Liberia? Go ahead, Gabriel.
Yeah, so thank you. That is a great question. It's funny, I was just talking to somebody about this same food business, Aspire Food in the country. The person just came from Ghana and they were in Liberia, and what they were actually experiencing is it's basically a lot of expired food. You go to the grocery store, you buy food, most of the food is actually expired. And the question that she kept raising is why is there nobody's monitoring the food that comes into this country? Some of these food, they have been expired for 6 months, some 3 months, some over a year. And these are food that are actually on the shelves in different grocery stores in the country, right? And it goes back to the point that you're actually making. This is, something that first and foremost, that job has to get done at the port of entry, right? Meaning you do a gross assessment of what is coming in. I know you won't be able to open every container that comes in to inspect it, but at least that job gets started at the port of entry. Meaning if you have, let's say, a container of, let's say, cargo oil coming in, right? And usually there's a list of the food that is in there, right? You you should be able to assess the food that is coming in, the quantity that is coming in, when, at least the expiration date on the food. That's one. Two, if it gets past that container, the port of entry, the next step goes to the inspection, the folks that inspect the food. This is something I don't expect her to be the person, or I don't expect him to be the person physically going into the stores to do that. But this is why you have staff. You have staff. They can do random checks in grocery store. You don't have to do everything all at once. You can just do random checks in grocery store in different area, in different counties, or in different communities. Just send somebody randomly in a place to go check on the store, like you and I normally do. Go in the store, pick up some stuff, and put them in a cart, and look at the expiration date. If you find anything there, you talk to the store manager. Usually, you always have a manager on staff who is standing over the cashier, watching over them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Big things like that, just like you and I normally do when we go to Liberia to go buy groceries. We find expired food on the shelves. They're able to do that. So I don't expect him to be the one physically doing it, but he has staff that can be doing that. The point here is that there's especially this person was buying baby food. The person I'm talking about, they were buying baby food. They went in the store and there was a lot of expired baby food. Every stuff they took off the shelf, expired. As I always said, and I always say, children are very important to the continuation of our country, whether it's education or what they eat. So if you are allowing damaged food in the country that are not being assessed or monitored, it creates a problem. You put people's health at risk. And this, given the health condition we have in the country where we don't have a good functioning, hospital, it could be very catastrophic. So I don't expect this guy to be the one going into the stores, but you have to do random checks at these, big grocery store like the Stop and Shop we have in those places. So
Yeah, but my man Gabriel, before I bring Dennis in here,
yeah,
let me look. This thing we're talking about in Liberia, right? So basically, what happens is, so the agent now, right? Dido Kubo in your office, leave from your office, in your office the commerce, right?
right,
Okay, so the agent goes into the store, he starts to walk around, or he goes to the container, he says, "Open the container,"
right.
right? The woman lead the agent standing right there. He walked 5 feet, pick up the phone, he called D. Cooper. He
Yeah.
said, "My man, one of the agent in here." The man gave me a hard time. You need to call the man off. D. Cooper tell the phone to the man.
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah, my man, what you doing over there? Oh, I came to inspect, lead out other people then. Go to the other area, lead out people there. No. Boom. You finish.
You see, you understand our culture very well. I will give another story, which I'm not going to give name. I have a friend who used to work at the Ministry of Labor, right? He was basically one of the foot soldiers, meaning one of those people who go into companies to inspect to make sure that they're following the rules, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically what you just said, some of the exact same thing used to happen with the labor. Like he goes in the store. When I went to Liberia at the time, it was in 2019. I had nothing to do. So I said, you know what, let me follow this guy around to see what he does. We go, I'm not going to give the names of stores that we went into.
No, you gotta get
exact same thing, right? We go into store, he follow his list, he sees all these violations. And before he exits the store, somebody, the store manager comes to him, "Hey, what have you found?" And he pulls the guy to the side. He pulls him to the side to talk. Next thing you know, he's on the phone. He's calling the guy's boss. And we leave from there. I just remain quiet. I'm just like a fly on the wall, just monitoring what's happening. Mm-hmm. So to your point, what you are saying, there's a high possibility that can happen. But again, it goes back to the fundamental thing for which we hire people, meaning hire people with integrity, hire people who are going to follow the law. Regardless if this is your mom's store or your father's store or your cousin's store, make sure they follow the law. If there's a fine that they need to be paid, regardless, based on the number of expired items, report it, let them pay it. So the next time when they go shopping, they go do their shopping overseas, they themselves will make sure that they buy goods that are not expired to bring into this country. So set an example and people will follow the rules. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to welcome Dr. Malley. Welcome to the show, sir. I'm going to go to Dennis, then I'll come to you. But welcome. Dennis, if you can steal, not steal, I want you to word stealing. If you are dishonest when it comes to your educational sojourn, why should we not believe that you will be dishonest when it comes to your professional life?
And I don't think that he had even said that he's honest. I like to take a step back to, when a system is broken, you don't even know where to start. First, at the university, why is this happening? Why is it possible that somebody is able to negotiate a degree to say, I can bypass everything? Why do we have such a situation? We have such a situation because it's a broken system. And in order to repair it, we have to go back to the root. What really is causing this? Right? University of Liberia. I mean, how many dog coopers have gotten degrees from there? Only God knows. Okay. And now we see from the output of university graduates, people that don't know the difference between ARE and the personal pronoun I. So we can see that there are so many dog coopers out there obtaining degrees. So why is it happening? It's better for us to go back and see how we can correct that. Because yes, you can catch the one dog cooper and suspend him and do what? That's not going to stop. The second thing is, what kind of system do we have? What kind of country do we have? What kind of society do we have that someone can be disgraced publicly and still move with pride and dignity on a job? I mean, after you've been caught cheating broadly, you still have the face. People still sit around you and call you their boss man. I mean, what kind of country is that? What kind of people are we? that we are not outraged at people being dishonest, people being rogues, thieves. And it's just okay. That dog Cooper today, when he's running, you see people behind him. I mean, I watched this guy with the padded mouth. I mean, when he says something, the people that respond to the man curse, you have about 200 people that respond resoundingly, cursing. Now we have a situation where a guy who is just appointed has the liaison to the Senate, whatever that job means. And I believe he got the job by coming and saying, hey, anybody calls the president, I will curse you, I will curse your mom, I will curse the people that are around you. And that's supposed to be something that earned him a job. So what kind of country are we talking about here? Even that job of an inspector where the person goes from door to door, you know, what is that? You know, I like what Gabriel said, you know, about if you have 1 point to correct something, just 1 point, that I, the bossman, the highest person in that office, I have to go from one cold storage to another one. I have to go from one place to another. Then we have a problem. The next thing is the economy. You know, the famous Carvo say, is the economy stupid? Why you think people will eat expired good? I've been to a place, I live around the Jamaica Road Junction, normal days, where when they take trash, garbage to the dump site, both the seen and the insane run there to get chicken. When they get it, the one they have thrown away, they say if you pour hot water only a cookie will be okay. So you can get the expired. If the economy is so bad, if people are so poor, people cannot afford, you can put expired to 2017, and somebody see it, they say, well, I will put hot water, it will die. So they boil it and eat it. So that's the kind of situation. So the situation is worse than we can even talk about here. That's all I can say.
Man, so all right, okay. So I'm gonna put another spin on this, Dr. Mali, for you. But I feel where you are coming from, Dennis. You know, when I was in college, I used to wait. You know, the bakery, they get something they call day-old bread. So we couldn't afford that fresh bread account in the morning. We couldn't afford it. So what we used to do is that the following day, right, the bakery will set on the cart day-old bread. I'll go there and take my own day-old bread. I know I like that for it. That one day it's a little stale, you know, but it's not contaminated. But for them, they couldn't sell it because it was day-old. Their approach was fresh bread. But so I understand where you come from when it comes to poverty. But here's the thing, though. It's one thing if the cold storage or whatever recognizing that, hey, you know what? This chicken is about to expire. Maybe I get 3 days. So let me slice the price, you know, and banjo it. I rather banjo it and get.
But it's a broken. That's the broken system where everything goes. It's broken. Nobody checks that. In fact, when you check it, they say, "Oh, you paid no car," you know. And then you have the government that lives on stealing, that lives on dishonesty. That is cool to be dishonest. It's very cool to insult somebody's parents. It's cool to you. In fact, you earn jobs. You get promoted. I give an example. If Prophet Key and I in Maria would run for anything, I will get maybe less than 0.1% of the people that will vote for Prophet Key. Why? Is, you know, we embrace incompetence. We look at somebody, and if you try to do something, they say, "Oh my man, that's not American." And so, because this is what has been rewarded over and over by the power that be, so there's no incentive now to do what is right, and that's sad.
There's no incentive to do what is right. Dr. Mali, once more, welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to On Point. We are here every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 o'clock. And here, this is what I learned in the last 2 days about this guy called D. Cooper. I learned that he is the former superintendent of Nimba County.
Yes.
I learned that he has a lot of clout in Nimba County. And because of that, the president he's just not somebody where the president can just push aside and be like, "Oh, I'm going to suspend you or fire you." That indeed, this guy has political clout in Nimba. And if the president wants Nimba on his side, you know, and he's also the VP's Peking. So here we are. He has a job, Inspector General. It's a job of integrity. Everything you do in that job is based on integrity, because bribes will come your way more than a lot of other positions. Bribes will come your way. I'm talking about 5 out of 10. I'm talking about in the tens of thousands of dollars. And he has been found out in not economic, but educational fraud. Why does this man still have his job?
You're muted. There you go. We can hear you. Still. It might maybe exit and come back in, or it might be connected to something else, to maybe a headphone that you have on. No.
Okay. Yeah. Just okay. So as we wait for Dr. Malley to come back on. So, Mr. Tower, let me tell you this, right? They said they may not have it way in Nimba. So all that talk, what you're talking, if the president want Nimba to stay on his side and to continue to support from Nimba, they better not touch Dido Kupo.
Yeah. So, but also besides the system, because when we're talking about the system is broken, right? It is also the kind of system that we run. We have to look at how our political system is. We have to be able to fashion out one that this system that we are running is too porous, is too divisive, and is open to a lot of corruption. But I just want to touch on something that Dennis said. You know, there are a lot of small individuals and groups all around the world. I'm not even talking about government that actually just have database, right? That they can catalog stuff in there and everything run very smoothly. Why is it that that the University of Liberia does not have a digital platform like a database that everybody is in there? And what is this number that they assign? Is it a number that can be duplicated? Is it a number that is like a social security number or like a serial number?
It's like a social security number.
Okay.
So okay,
if
they did accept you, they
yes.
gave you that number. That number
So,
follow you.
So then how was this thing applied to where it didn't reflect something?
Yeah.
To where you could see that, hey, no, it's just like the same thing. They have the land authority. All the land problem will happen is the same thing, right? All land have like a serial number. The whole Liberia is already laid out as source on the map. But the same government is issuing 3 to 4 deeds for the same land. How is this possible? It's the same thing. You are giving degree to somebody on 2 different people registered on the same social security number, the same serial number. So that's the problem. So if we can streamline those areas and straighten out the infrastructure, yes, they will still be trying to do the corruption, but at least there will be something that will be there to reflect stuff before it even escalates to go that far.
All right. Okay. Dr. Malley, can you hear me now?
I'm hearing you.
Awesome.
Are you hearing me?
Perfect.
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay.
Good to go, sir.
All right.
All right.
First, I want to extend my greeting to fellow co-panelists. It's like every day there's different drama in our country. It can be different form and different sizes, you know. But the issue that is ongoing now, these are not strange phenomena. These were things inherited and continue to be enhanced in modern day Liberia. These are some of the systems that were restructured since 1847. They are beginning to appear in different form. And so let's retrospect a little bit. When the military coup came, level-headed Liberian thought that was the end of the breaking down of the Congo hegemony. But it was proven to be wrong. People were removed or people were killed, but the system still remains in place. And the system has been modified to the extent where it's even creating a disservice to the society. The characteristic of a good governance is dependent on so many factors. But it seems to be Liberia have chosen to be on the side of bad governance. And this has gone on for a very, very long time. But here is my bone of contention. We've been having government succeeding another government, from one government to another government, and from one government to another government. The same thing keeps repeating. From the educational system, now it's finding its way into the food system. My bone of contention is this. His Excellency President Boakai was born in 1944. He witnessed and worked with multiple governments. He even told the media that he knows Liberia problems. So there is nothing strange to the Unity Party rescue in quote government. We know what is happening. So the question now is, do we have monitoring, thorough supervision going on? Do we have qualified people to run the system? But I think the answer here is that the culture of impunity still permeates every sector of our society. No one is being punished to serve as a deterrent to some of the ugly things going on in the society. For instance, the defense minister, when the Sawyer wives took to the street, demonstrated, and accused him of so many other issues, what happened? He resigned. And what happened? The president sent this guy to NSA. That was a reward. So if people are being rewarded for wrongdoing, that tells you that the system, like Dennis said, is not only broken, but there are a lot of compromises that are going on at the detriment of the masses. I saw the video where you have cockroaches walking on bread in a flamen shop, and people are buying these things. This how the typhoid continue to proliferate in our system. People, inspectors go to these places, they compromise the health of the people, the dignity of the people, get tip and bribe at the expense of the lives of the people and go away. Why? Because we have culture of impunity. Either the wrong people are placed to do this work, but the bottom line here is that there is no patriotism in Liberia. The love for country is conspicuously missing in our society. And until we can get that leader that will have what I call an oversight, exclusive supervision. Because the question now is, who supervises the Minister of Commerce? Who supervises the inspectors? Who do counter inspection? Who do their evaluation? All right? Who get the news and don't punish these people? That the guy who just graduated, the dog guy we're talking about. His story being all over the place. I want to strongly believe that the issue of employment, it doesn't only depend on your credential. There are so many factors in employment, but you need to have a clear benchmark. Any foul play, or you tampering with the system, whether you my brother or sister, you have to be dismissed, turned over for investigation, and possibly audited. So the question now is, when are we going to have such a head of state to enforce some of these things? That is the question that before us tonight.
Thank you so much, Doc.
Michael, I wanted to come in quickly to something you mentioned, right? You see the regarding the IG, with him being affiliated with Nimba. You see, this is the dangerous politics we play in our country. And the way you see it, that's basically how everybody sees it. I didn't know that he was actually, close to the vice president, and I didn't know he had that Nimba ties, which makes sense because if you look at the report that came out, the president of the University of Liberia has fired everybody else from the university. She did her due diligence, investigated, and got rid of those people, which is the right thing to do, and we applaud her for that. At the presidential level, this is the same action that not just me, everybody expected the president to take, regardless of this guy's political capital that he has, right? Even if you're looking at 2029, which is a few years from now, to his point, they just elected Koga. You still have that stronghold there. You can get rid of one and keep one other and hopefully build up to that. I know when you fire him, there will be noise that will come from that region also. Take the pain. You have time. You have time to make up. You have 4 years to make up that time with Koga being there. If you're looking at it strategically, right? But you can't just sit there and do nothing. And just because you want political capital comes 2029, you have somebody who's grossly violating the educational fraud. So that's from a strategic standpoint. This is how he's supposed to think about it. Fire this guy right now. I have 4 years, good 4 years to make up. Even if there's a noise that comes from that region, I have 4 years to make up for that. Second of all, I have someone there that we just elected who can help him make up that ground before 2029. This is how you should be looking at it. But here we are again. Nothing will happen because of his political capital. But I yield.
You're muted.
You're muted.
So we'll continue to watch and see what happens here.
But of course, can I just add a little layer to what Mr. Carter just said?
Sure, a quick 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds. I just want us inform ourselves that we've got what I call a considerable political patronage in Liberia. Our politics has got traditional and cultural face in it, you see. But I strongly believe that when it comes to education, there should be no compromise on that. But if we're mixing it up with political capital, as Mr. Carter said, or if I do that, I will not get Nimba County. We are taking the country nowhere. And His Excellency ran on the mantra of change. So we expect His Excellency to put his feet down. I know him. He's a tough guy. But if he's just start to dismiss people and compromising things and no investigation, then all the message of change become questionable. So the issue of political patronage is like His Excellency is now toting that path and is very, very dangerous.
Thank you very much, Doc. Thank you very much. And I'm not one of those who subscribe to traditional or tribal antics, but it takes me back. I remember when during the George Weah government, Justice Kabine Jane was impeached from the bench.
Yeah.
Okay. In order to soothe the Mandingo group, George Weah nominated another Mandingo person into that position. Okay. Now, like I said, I'm not one that ascribes to that, but that was his political way of saying, I don't want to anger that group.
Yeah.
But the president is not even willing to say, what happened? No, I'll fire that man. People at Nimba, you're send me somebody with
exactly. Right.
They're not even willing to even try.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on to our next topic here. There's word out there now, after the Supreme Court gave its ruling that Speaker Kofa, and I have no way of confirming this, so it's pure speculation out there. But there is speculation that during the first day of the new sitting of the 55th legislature, that Speaker Kofa is going to go ahead and resign as Speaker, not as representative, but as Speaker. If this happens, okay, what's next? should Shukun just assume to be the speaker? Should there be an elections held? Even if Kofa resigns, all of the condemnation that was placed before Kofa, should those things be investigated? Mr. Tower, let me hear from you.
Yes. In the first place, here is that I have always been of the thought that it was going to be impossible for Kofa to come back. Like even and like some people say here that he's just doing it now to just show that the law worked and all of this stuff. But for me, when it comes to the legislation, I really don't care. I've said it here over and over because it is just one group of criminals against the others. When they come to them trying to put money in there for them to buy a car for 35,000 or 40,000 or 50,000, which is the interest of the people, rule of law doesn't exist. Common sense doesn't exist. Doing the right thing doesn't exist. When they come to them putting money in there and giving it to themselves for agricultural break, and they all say the Raymond River, it doesn't exist. Taking over so-called county development fund, none of this stuff exists. But then when they come to their personal interest on who is going to take over the $2 million budget or whatever of that place, then all of a sudden, so it is based on this that I say I don't even want to be drawn into that stuff of to start saying that somehow Kofa should stand. It doesn't matter. There's a same Kofa that wanted to rock Keke because he wanted the 45,000 for them to buy a car. It's in the law, it's their right. But look, this is what I would say. Kofa, I read it and I talked to a couple of people very close in the government. What is going on right now? Kofa is negotiating financial payoff. So that they gave him some money, and the government already said they're going to give back all of his back payment benefits and all of this stuff. And we don't know what else come with that. So it's like he held the country hostage, not so much because of something right, but because he had this budget and he's supposed to make that money. And so now he can let it go now that he has so-called maybe, it's not even that he even won, actually. It just said that he's still a legitimate speaker and the House still have to choose if they still want him. So it's the same old thing. They have to go back and they can still try to vote him out. And he knows that he really might not make it because Kofa, believe it or not, spent a lot of money trying to hold on to those or Yeke Colbert that you see now, trying to pay them off until they can be on the side. The government have the country's covered, and they were paying a lot of money. So I want to believe what they're negotiating behind the scene is that, look, he put a lot of his own money in, and they got to give it back to him. Just like when the election were over here in the U.S., when Obama beat Hillary Clinton, she was jumping all over the place, and the thing was like she spent a lot of money on campaign. She owed people, and so the Obama camp were going to take money from that was left over from their own campaign contribution to pay her off, to pay her debt, and then she will quietly go away. And so it's the same thing that we are seeing. Look, man, the democracy that you are giving is corrupt. The system is bad. We need to overhaul that stuff. We need to try to dismantle it. We need to look at it. Look, we can't keep going the same way. I don't know what is it. Everybody else in this world were colonized by the Europeans. Look at the Asian. Let's look at the Asian model for a minute. When they all came out, they knew that what the colonizers set up for them. They can't follow that blueprint if you're going to challenge them and compete with them. You can't follow their playbook that they lay out for you. It's going to be counterproductive. It's going to be dead end. Everybody else changed that. They dismantle it. And guess what? Look at what they're doing. Africa alone, we are following that playbook. And look at what we are. And every time I come here, and not just me, other people have said it, I read their work, I have looked at the work that they have done. We resist it. And then we wonder what the corruption. The system that you have, corruption is built in it. The reason they give it to you is because it's porous, it's divisive, and it's easily corruptible. Tell me, we are here talking about corruption, but the very political system from the very beginning, at the point of campaigning, where does the money come from? Where does the money come from to fund, whether it is presidential campaign, electoral campaign, or representative campaign, where does it come from? That is the first line of corruption. So when we are at this stage and we are talking about the person is corrupt, no, they just made a business deal to investors that they say, hey, invest in me. When I get there, I'm going to turn the one over to, I'm going to do this for you, I'm going to do that for you. They mortgage out the country first. So we need to look at this. There is no other way. We resist it, we're going to be sitting here. We need to make a drastic change. One last thing. Every election that is held in Liberia now, we have to demand this. And I want for FOL to actually champion this. I want for every one of us and that in the diaspora and everywhere else. There must be a referendum. There must be referendums, not just one, that go with those elections, whether it's senatorial election, representative election, or presidential election. And some of the things that should be there should be reducing salaries and benefits of representative and government officials, taking away the ability for them to be able to set their own stuff. And the way it should be set is that if the people vote and that particular the people win, overwhelmingly choose that this should happen, it should not go to the same house where they will have to be able to rectify it then before it becomes law. Because these are the ways, if we're going to keep the same system in place, things have to start becoming referendums.
Yeah.
So that the people can decide.
Okay. Okay. Gabriel.
Yeah.
Speculations are that Speaker Kofa is going to resign at the first sitting. What do you think should happen next?
First of all, I want to. I know this is speculation, but I want to agree with Mr. Tower here a little bit because
Man, that Tower train, right? Oh, when you join that train, that's much.
No. There's something he said that
okay.
If you look at it in a broader context, right, it doesn't make sense. This is a guy. I was on this platform championing this guy for holding up what he was doing. Meaning, if you want to get rid of me, do the right thing. Follow the Constitution as it is. I don't care if I have one vote. If you want to get rid of me, follow the Constitution, take the majority, and then you can rule me out, right? So I was supporting this guy when he was holding up the whole process, say, I'm not going to resign, I'm not going to resign. And when the Supreme Court came out with their decision, I said, bravo, this is it. And the reason why I applauded that is because two things. As I said it here the last time, a constitution is a breathing document. We're a living constitution. The Constitution is a living, breathing document, meaning it evolves. You can amend it, right? I don't care how you try to perfect it. There will always be one group. There will always be that one individual who will come and bend it, right? And that is okay. But if you find that loophole that they're exploiting, what you do, you amend it to fix it. So that means the next person cannot come and exploit that same hole that is there, that is being exploited. So when this happened to Speaker Kofa, I applauded him. And I said, you know what's going to happen? The House is going to step in. The Senate is going to step in to make sure the way that they're trying to get rid of him doesn't happen again. So I was applauding him. Continue to hold the whole court. Hold on to that. Don't resign. But all of a sudden, the Supreme Court even come out and give you the green light, say, hey, this is supposed to be the speaker. And then a week later, 2 weeks later, he's throwing in he's surrendering. So the first thing that you should ask yourself, hey, why now? Why are you surrendering now? Why are you trying to resign? And this is why I agree with Mr. Towell that somebody is trying to pay him off, right? Because if not, this guy was doing the right thing, whether he had the support of the rest of the country or not. He was following the Constitution, and all of us were supporting him, right? So the fact that he is now trying to step aside all of a sudden, it's mind-boggling. But here's what as I said before, and I'll say it again. This thing we do in our country and we continue to do, we fail to learn, we fail to perfect our democracy. It will continue to haunt us. The way he got removed, I suppose this is the same way he himself came to power, took the speakership. And when he came in, somebody else did the same thing to him. if, which is going to happen, Corn remains the speaker when he resigns, the next person that will come, if we don't amend that constitution to avoid that kind of removal, kamikaze style, where you just come in and take hostage of the rest of the legislature, somebody else will do it to Coon. And if we don't amend the constitution, it continues, right? And every time what is going to happen is that we're going to continue to hold the House and our government in hostage. Here's the segue that I'm going to make. You see, we are Africa's oldest republic.
Yeah.
And I always say this, we're supposed to be the if factor in terms of democracy, in terms of economic prosperity, in terms of the standard of living, into every measurable thing you can think about. We're supposed to be the if factor. All the countries on our continent are supposed to be looking at Liberia. This is Africa's first republic, right? You talk about colonization, we don't think about colonization. But here we are, the grandma and grandpa in the room of the other country. And we have, if someone entered our continent and told you that Liberia is the oldest country on this continent, they would tell you you're lying until they do the research. But here's the point that I'm trying to make in our yield. We compete, and we still compete for every dollar of investment in our region and our continent, right? The way investors look at assessment when they're coming to invest, the first and foremost thing is security, right? If I put my money into this country, is this country safe? 2, what are the rules of law? Do these people follow the rule of law? Is there a rule of law in this country? And if someone is to be, contemplating investing in Liberia right now, they go on Google and they see this quagmire that is happening, and they see that they can look at our history and see that it's been coup after coup after coup, and after 22 years after a war, we are still dead flat at the bottom economic spectrum in the region. They look at the next door neighbor, right? They go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So I say this to say we have to get our acts together, right? We have to follow our constitution. I don't care how we wrote it. If there were 5-year-olds who wrote it, we need to follow it. If it needs to be amended because people have gotten smart and they continue to exploit it, then amend it. Do the right thing. We have senators, lawyers in our House of Representatives and House of Senate. They have the Senate. Do the right thing. Okay, this guy that exploited the loophole here. Let's fix this constitution so the next person doesn't do this. But here we are continuing to do the same thing over and over. So I agree with Tao. There's a payoff being worked out behind closed door, and this guy will just go out easily. He'll get paid for his back pay that's owed to him, and we continue. This thing is gonna get swept under the rug. But there's consequences, long-term consequences that every one of us will be paying for. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gabriel. Thank you. Dr. Manning, speculation. Speaker Kofa, during the first sitting, will resign as speaker. What do you think should happen next?
Thank you, host. Before I address that question, I first of all want to concur with you, Mr. Carter. Liberia is the oldest country, one of the oldest countries, with the oldest abuse of power, with the oldest malfeasance in government, and with the oldest on bad governance. So we should never beat our chest. Liberia is the oldest because they are all in everything that is negative. So I just want to make that interjection. Furthermore, I think it would be fundamental if Kofa resigns. Firstly, it would be a sign of weakness, political weakness on the part of Speaker Kofa. Secondly, it would be a serious slap in the face of the Supreme Court. Why did they go through such a rigorous exercise in the first place? And lastly, I was talking about payoff. We all know the HRO rules. When you resign, you cannot get a payoff. Anything that pay off is corruption. You have resigned your post. Probably we can talk about your back pay. Even that is negotiable, right? So pay us a stay part and parcel of this bad governance will continue running into Liberia. The whole thing was even extended to the bank governor, where the guy took away $374,000. Something like that had not even happened under the man who called former President who we concluded that he ran the most deplorable government in Liberia. Such thing never even happened down there. Why are we practicing all the corrupt practices? It's very wrong. But let me address the host question. The Supreme Court ruling is limited in scope. It was there to validate this guy's speakership. That's the end of it. If he resigns, we come to a crossroad. Things start afresh. There are possibility for Kun to reconsider this time and get a 49 to legitimize his speakership. Why? Because the man who the validator has resigned. And the government cannot be renewed void. The government got to run. We need a functional speaker. So if the speaker feels that he has been paralyzed by his inability to play the number games, to come up with 49, to consolidate his authority, and his last option is to resign, that's weakness, that's slapping the Supreme Court face. And so no one should hold Kun responsible if he called a quorum and reach up to 49 to consolidate his position. Nobody should hold him responsible.
Should there be new elections?
Well, I don't know what the rule says. I don't know much about the hospital.
The rule says that once the speaker either resigns or has been removed, the deputy speaker should immediately take over and call for new elections within 60 days.
Okay, that's another option. We can choose to go that path, but we can also choose to go the other path. We have a speaker that has been disqualified, and the ruling did not extend to the point where when the speaker resigned, they should go back to the rules. So by common sense, we should say yes, we should go by the rules. But this is politics. Why if Kun and his junta decided, okay, gentlemen, it's not our fault. We accepted the ruling, and the guy decided to take the back door. Now we are going to do the right thing. I was a speaker. I was disqualified. I'm calling a meeting so that you guys can consolidate around me and we'll get a 49, the normal game, and give me a proper speaker. That's going to be another option.
Okay.
So either of the option, it should be okay with me because Kofa had just thrown in a monkey wrench to create confusion. He had no business resigning. He's supposed to exercise authority. So why he kept running to the Supreme Court? Or he just want to make a case that indeed I had a victory? It's not about having a victory. It's about exercising authority. So if Kofa is politically paralyzed, let him confess to the Liberian people that he has failed miserably to play the number games, and that is getting the 49. I yield.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Mary. Time is far spent, but before we go on to our final topic here, I just wanted to put this up at 7 o'clock this evening. I believe it's 7 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah.
Focus on Liberia will present the Hour of Faith, where we will have Islamic scholar Abu Dukle as well as Imam Toure. They're going to be discussing some really tough topics here, including Sharia law, polygamy, the role of women, human rights, and on and on. It's coming on today at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Do not miss it. All right, let's go on to our final topic on here. The Nimba senatorial elections have concluded. We saw the numbers. I'm looking at the numbers from a different point of view. Okay. Even though Samuel Koga was able to win by about 20,000 votes, even Edith Gonglo was able to get a significant number of votes.
40,000, yeah.
Huh? She was able to
I
get
think
40,000.
about 40,000, yes.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, that's 60-40. If you can, all things given that one person carry about 60% of the vote, the other person carry about 40% of the vote. Going into 2029 here, based on that number, do you think Nimba is up is the Nimba vote? Is the Nimba vote up for grabs? Can we expect that the Unity Party will only get 60% of the vote, and the other 40% might go to the opposition? And if that is the case, does Nimba still remain kingmaker? Because that's really only 20,000 votes. So, Gabriel, let me hear from you on that one. What do you think?
Yeah. So it goes back to the point we made earlier about the IG. For me, if the president, and again, this is all thought processes, right? If the president was certain that the election of Koga guarantees him taking the Nimba vote in 2029, I believe he would have gotten rid of the IG, right? But from my perspective, I think that is still up for grab because Koga, despite, I will say this personally, I didn't know who he was. I know maybe some of you may have heard about him. The only person we've known about was Prince Johnson, and maybe a few others. But I didn't even know this guy. I didn't even know, besides the fact that I heard that he's Keo, I've heard nothing about him. So meaning this election that just happened in Nimba gave him a little bit of clout in terms of political capital to, the Unity Party as well. And because of that, what's going to happen from now to 2029, based on how well he does, how well he get himself out there, what he's able to achieve, will determine whether he himself stays in power in comes 2029 or not, right? That's one. Two, whether him being the current senator for that county is enough to hand over Nimba to the ruling party, right? But for me, I don't think that is enough. I think this is still, he doesn't have the political capital that Prince Johnson had when he was the senator. He is fairly new. I don't think he's a king's maker. Since he's won, I've never seen him on any platform talking about any strategy that he may have used to win. So I don't think he really has it in him like that. So I think this is still up for grab comes 2029. And if I were in the opposition, I would be doing my groundwork right now before 2029. I yield.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Mr. Tao.
Yes.
Nimba County. Do you think Nimba is up for grabs now? Just looking at, or do you think we'll have a new godfather?
Yeah. Look at what happened here. This is how I see it. I don't think Nimba is going to consolidate anytime soon on any one group that easily. You have to look at Prince Johnson's history and his position in Nimba. Prince Johnson, Thomas Kruompa, that was pretty much like took him on his wings. They always were projected in some ways fighting for the people of Nimba against the Dole government. Like Prince Johnson, I grew up right next to him. And so they were seeing like that when 1985 came and they were fleeing, how all the government soldiers all in our area checking everywhere, even in our house trying to see, because my uncle and Prince Johnson, they had some little friendships here and there when they knew his uncle that he lived with, because he lived with one of his uncle just up the street from where I grew up. So this is how far back it goes, right? With the Prince Johnson and Nimba stuff. Then 1990 came and Prince Johnson is the one that captured Dole and killed Dole. It's not so much that he defended Nimba, but guess what? So that built some kind of demigod image for him in Nimba. So he didn't really have to do much. But like what Gabriel said, he said that how you call him, Koga he had not put out anything like to say the platform. My brother, in Liberia, they don't care about platform. They don't care about platform. They don't care about any of this stuff. You are actually just popular based on how badly you treat them or how badly you act. If you are just popular, you are popular. Tell me. I've been knowing George Weah for some time. He didn't run anything. He had never worked anywhere. Not even show up in an office for them to say he's even on time. Now, he didn't sign no paper. They handed the country to him. Because why? Because he played football. So he was popular. So that is why you see all the people that run, they don't run based on any platform. You can design your platform, can be as nice as you want it. Man, you would lose if you are not popular. You just have you ex-rebel leader. So that is why everybody pitched themselves along with Prince. But this is what I would say before I rest. I want to believe that the ruling party, come 2029, they will have a slight advantage or more advantage in Nimba. The reason is because the vice president with state resources and with him being pitched to Prince Johnson for a long time is from Nimba. And now guess what? The Coca guy also is. So now the ruling party have at least 2 people in that Nimba. And I think come 2029, I'm not saying they're going to do sweep. I don't think they can do that, but I think it put them at an advantage. Most likely against any opposition in Nimba.
Okay. All right. So let me come to Dr. Malley then. Dr. Malley, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and the Unity Party during her reign, one of their political strategies was, look, CDC has massive support in Monserrato. So we can win Monserrato. But if we can get enough votes from there, we can neutralize them to a certain point. And then we go and collect a piecemeal from other places. And we saw them win 2005 and 2011. Is this the same thing we are saying, Nimba? With Prince Johnson being gone, where the opposition, they can't win Nimba, but the strategy, if we can get as many votes out of there, then we can neutralize Nimba. What do you think?
Well, that's excellent. There's this political idiom that says, he who pays the piper calls the tune. So if you work for me, I pay you. Even though if I don't have the brain, you don't have the platform, I'll still pay you because you are working for me. As one of the co-panelists said, winning election in Liberia, you have to put the voter into perspective. We have a voting population that don't believe in manifesto. We have a voter population that believe in popularity. That's why, Joe, I keep telling you I will come back. We have a voting population where the politicians are not interested to even elevate them to understand. We have a voting population that don't make informed judgment or have critical thinking about things. We have a population that is impoverished. So if you get rice, you get fish, with a little money or to facilitate the cooking, you just get a vote. So people sell their birthright, not at will, but because of condition. So the politicians are exploiting the situation from time to time, including Koga. But here is my take. Politics fluctuate. Politics fluctuate from time to time. Between now and 2029, things could really change. And things could change based on the dynamics performance of His Excellency. If he performed dismally, the rescue government is going to go underwater. All right? Then it will also have a very strong opposition. They will end up neutralizing this godfather because the role Prince Johnson played down there, the level at which he got connected to those people, Koga will strive for many years to get to that level. Yeah. So Edith got out of the picture. One of the fundamental factors that even affected her was the gender issue. You know, our traditional setting, when our ladies teaming up with the men, They say, oh, you belong in the kitchen. Oh, where you coming from? And on the political side, they were just saying that every time she got defeated, and she would pack and come to the United States. That's a virus with all the politicians in Liberia. It happened to Cummins. Whenever they are beaten, so the mindset now is Liberia is a farm. We come there to harvest the resources, and when we can't get them, we come to the United States to relax. That's the same system that was perpetuated by these American Liberians. We still carrying it up. But the problem here is that I rather give credit to Edith for three things: for her resilience to challenge such a high-level traditional stuff in our place there. I must give her the resilience to really stand out. I was disappointed that Her Excellency, the former president, and the rest of the ladies were coming to her rescue at the 11th hour. That was my disappointment. The same Helen Johnson said he dismissed the woman on the basis of corruption. From the other report, dismissed her in our country. It is seeing Helen Johnson coming again to support this woman. So I saw a whole lot of high-level hypocrisy that affected the woman's ability to even challenge this guy. So if you're getting the 40,000 vote, according to some sources, I want to commend her for that, seriously. And if she come back, I have two advice for her. One, she has to find herself into a political terrain, honor a party, rather than going solo. In Liberia, when you go in solo, some of the people even take you for a joke. You see? And for the level of politics that is going on now in the various country in Liberia, it's getting to be very nasty right now, if I should use that word. Okay? The whole tribal thing is permeating, is taken seriously in our place there. There was this conversation one time on one of our platforms. They said, oh, Kofa was dancing, Koga was dancing and jumping over the body. And someone said, that was, excuse me, panelists, that was nonsense. I said, no. These are little things that resonate with the people. You see, you don't know the people. Like when John Weah used to go through town and sit in the kitchen and start to blow the fire. These are the type of politics that resonate with our people in Liberia. So Kumi was always in his coat suit and he gave his speeches. The people see him as a black snake in a room. They see him as a stranger. They see it's like he's not resonating with the people. You see? So these are the little things. When you hear the people say, oh, John Weah will come back again. Oh, John Weah continue on that trajectory. Trust me, John Weah will come back. Because this is how the people resonate with you. I know they know you. You be with them. Now the next thing you will say, oh, since John Weah lose the election, he went and he came by in a few days time. Some people left, they never came by again. So John Weah, our brother, he stay with us here. John Weah start visiting Cruton, all the other places. He said our son. Why I said that with all the money he got, he did not go to stay in the United States. The people will be in that direction again. Now that they know in time, they say, oh, Kumi broke now, he gone back again, and he will still leave again. So when the people start to develop the mindset, it creates serious problem in the system. How can we work around? How can we work around it?
All right.
It is entrenched in the voters. So
Mr. Kumi has not left. He's still in Liberia. He hasn't left.
I just making a case study, man, about our voters. And
but our listeners sometimes they take that certain way. So
They take that to heart. So we got to be.
Mr. Kumi lives in Liberia.
Yeah.
He has been in Liberia. He hasn't left. That is true. But we understand your case study. And I do appreciate it. It says a lot. And it was something that I believe personally hurt Edith a lot. You know, that whole you will run then when you lose, then you go by America. I don't think she was able to divorce herself from that. All right. So time is fast spent here, gentlemen. So we'll stop on these three topics today. I'll go ahead and give each one of you guys 2 minutes to conclude. And you can speak on all topics if you want, or you can speak on either or. Okay, Mr. Tao, why don't you go ahead and conclude, sir?
Yes, thank you very much to my fellow panelists and to our viewers. But look, we come here every day, and on all of the various platforms of FOL and on point here. And we are trying to make sense of a political, socio-economic system that is foreign to us, that will impose. Until no group of people rule themselves to advance by using other people's script, by using other people's cultural construct in every society, in every country, the form of leadership have to be based on their culture and their tradition. I don't know what is so difficult for us to understand as Liberians in particular and Africans in general. These things were designed. Even the nation state concepts, we are struggling with it as Africans. It is cheaper for us to trade from Liberia to America than for us to trade across the border in Africa. And if you look at the Sahel states, these are some of the problems they're trying to address. ECOWAS have tried to look and say, look, you know what? We need one currency. The AU have started to look at what they call under the Afro or something like that. But these things, these barriers have to be removed. The way we dispense justice, I mentioned it here. There is no justice in the Western style democratic system. For you to get justice, you must have money. So justice then is not for poor people. The moment somebody accuses you, they say, my man, find the best lawyer that money can buy. So then how is there justice? Have we looked at how we dispense justice in our system, in our culture, in our tradition? The fact that most of us have been de-Africanized, that we hate ourselves so much that the moment you mention African cultural tradition, everybody start to resist. But it's the European in us. There is a concept, one of our elders said that within every African, there is a European. It is the duty of that African to put that European to death. We must do that. We must do that. We must turn inward. We must, like somebody, we are studying psychology and sociology. Mm-hmm. The psychology and sociology is not universal. The claim of universality of the Europeans is a form of imperialism and subjugation. Your psychology is based on your historical experience. You and the European have two different historical experiences. You have two different history. So how can the both of you have the same psychology? It's not true. It can never be true. So we adopt all these wrong things, and then we keep trying to apply it. I listened to the president of the UL. Let me for me the rest, okay. Because education is the area that can actually change this. But what happened? We hire somebody from the US. No, nothing about Africa. It's not about what her experience, because we keep trying to emphasize experience based on something that is completely foreign to us. And I listened to her on Dennis Jar's show one Saturday, and they're asking her this question and the first thing they brought two professors, the US-based professors or so. And everything they talked about, all their point of reference was the what we do in the United States. Harvard, this one. Harvard is from Harvard that the policies that destroy Africa come from. So you don't even want, if you understand yourself, you don't even quote those places. But these are the institutions from which they intend to draw and then come to Africa. It's not going to lead us anywhere. So this is where we are. We must take this. There is no dignity in self-denial. We are Africans and we are going to remain Africans until we can draw back into ourselves. Then we'll find our bearing in order for us to move forward. All right. It's not possible for us to advance by trying to use what they gave us. It was intended. There's one thing, every African must know this. Anything that the European push that you must do, electoral politics, democracy, this one, whenever they are pushing it and they're willing to put their money behind it, it's because it's not good for you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Gabriel, why don't you?
Yeah. So again, thank you guys for having me on the platform. You know, joining on point. Um, there's two things I would like to close with. One being the current speaker quagmire that we have in the House of Representatives. Um, I would just emphasize the point that I made earlier. We 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 are putting ourselves in a place that I believe we don't want to get to. We shouldn't down a path that we shouldn't be heading in. Um, and again, I say this because this is 22 years since we came out of war. At this point in time where we find ourselves, we're supposed to be building a democracy that is where you're seeing some level of gradation of improvement in the process. Yes, it may not be perfect, but you see some level of improvement, incremental improvement in our process. But here on 22 years later, we can't figure out how to govern ourselves. But yet we claim to ourselves, we want to lie to ourselves that we have a democracy, whatever that means. The tenets of democracy as they should be, good governance, fair, rule of law, say safety and security for your people, all of that. We don't have that. And to top it off, we have a quagmire in our speakership. This is not the first time. This is not the second time. This is probably the third or fourth time this is happening. But yet we want to have this illusion that we have a democracy. We do not. And we have to be very upfront with ourselves. Again, I will say this. The Constitution is meant as a living and breathing document, meaning you don't just set it and forget it. People will test it everywhere you go around the world. Your Constitution will be tested. It is incumbent upon you as a House of Representative person or a lawmaker in the House of Representatives or a senator to find those gaps and say, okay, yes, there's loophole here. People are exploiting these loopholes. Let's fix it. Let's amend it. And you move on to the next one. This is how you perfect a democracy in perpetuity, continuously, right? The next thing I want to talk about here is the Nimba Nimba County race. You see, the way we do politics in Liberia, if we continue down this path, we can look back. They say if you want to look at your future, you look. The further back you look, the clearer you can predict your future. If you look at our history, we have played the tribal politics for so long, and that's what got Koga into power with the Gio people majority voting for him. Right? What I'm hearing as well is his vacant seat. If anybody go vote in that region, if that person is not Gio, they won't get elected. Here's the point I want to make, and I will end, and I will yield. Everything we're talking about here right now, right? The politics, the complaining you hear, the all of this rule breaking in the country that we're seeing, law breaking of the law, right? Violation. It all fundamentally boils down to the economics. Meaning these are people that want to have self-actualization. Meaning you and I sitting on this platform, there's one thing we have in common. We have jobs. We can take care of our family. Either you're working or you have a company, right? Or you have some kind of retirement. This is basically what the Liberian people want. So if we are here 22 years later after war, a majority of Liberian people do not have that. And yet we continue to play tribal politics. We continue to have an ungovernable state, yet we continue to have this illusion that we have democracy. We will find ourselves right back where we left off, where we came from. Where this is not something we may want, but those are intended consequences for not doing right by the majority of the people. Yes, the majority wins, but you also have to have consideration for the minority in the country too. Just because you're the majority and you win doesn't mean you sideline the minority in the country. So you have to govern for everybody. And this is not the case right now. So this is something we're going to continue to talk about until we build a country that works for every Liberian. Whether that is yet to be seen, I cannot see it. But comes 2029, hopefully We do not have any of those current parties in place, whether the CDC or Unity Party. Hopefully we can come to our senses and elect somebody new. I'll leave it on that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gabriel. And thanks for joining us today. We appreciate you. Dr. Malley, your closing, sir.
Yes, it is sad that in the 21st century, we are still discussing issue of 1847 being manifested in so many different ways. It's sad for our generation. But here is the saying that the type of education we have determine to a larger extent the type of society we run. If we have fraudulent graduates from our schools, you will end up having what I call an organized network of thieves running the society. Why the society is so corrupt? Because our graduates are fraudulent. Most of them buy grades and leave the various university. And so when they get down there, it's no more corruption. You now have what I call organized network of thieves running the society at the detriment of the masses. You see? And with reference to Kofa, I will want to advise him strongly to remain in the race, roll up his sleeves. He's the third man in command. Use his authority as a speaker and begin to bite rather than giving up. That would be very detrimental to his political career if he chooses to run in 2029. That's weakness. And some of us may take him on at that time to really question him, because it's like his resignation will be a betrayal to all of us that held the Supreme Court ruling. It would be a blatant betrayal if he knew he wanted to resign or he had that intention, why he put us and those who are supporting rule of law and due process in our path. And you know you're going to resign, because his resignation going to trigger a different ball game again in the house. It's going to bring another phase of drama again, you see. And lastly, to the inspectors, it is a gross disservice to have Liberians compromising with foreigners to jeopardize the health of our people. I know it is not easy, but I think oversight and thorough supervision and dismissal and penalty measures should be taken against some of the inspectors. If it means sending them to jail, you go to jail. You see, good governance is about penalty measure. We are in this country who know what's happening. And no friendship here, the law is the law. You governor, you will go to jail, you will go through the due process. So my disappointment here is we've had government from one government to another government. So His Excellency came in as a rescue mission. I voted for him. I talked to people to vote for him. I have not seen anything strange. The same old business as usual in different form is happening in Liberia. You see, so now people are beginning to think, when will we have the Messiah coming? Because we thought Helen Johnson was the Messiah. It was proving to be wrong. So we thought, we have the Messiah. You were relating to the people who were proving to be wrong. Now again, we say Joseph Boakai is the Messiah. Now it seems to be, if we don't take care, Joseph Boakai government might be the worst government than Georgia government. Looking at the trajectory I'm examining right now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. To our audience, thank you guys for joining us on this Sunday, as you know, On Point, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central. And just before we go, I'm going to go ahead and put this up again. So Focus on Liberia presents the Hour of Faith. Our host is going to be Dennis Jah. He's going to have Iman Toure, as well as the Islamic scholar Abu Dukle. They're going to be discussing a range of topics, everywhere from Sharia law to polygamy, the role of women, so many interesting topics. So please do not fail to join them. They start at 7 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Central. So please, they will be on Focus on Liberia, do not forget to join them. To my fellow panelists this evening, I want to tell you guys thank you so much for joining us. To our people out there, our constant viewers, we want to say thank you. And as we end the show tonight, we'll say even though Liberia might have some challenges, but we should never forget that we are all indeed Liberians.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our